Hey YouTube, we're here with the the Sunbird, which I called the Hawkeye for a while. And today we want to look at a couple of different issues that I've noticed as I've been flying. Try to give you as clear a point of this as you can. You notice how the horizontal stabilizer points out. The horizontal stabilizer is fairly square to the vertical stabilizer, and it seems to be fairly true to the fuse, but then the wing is not even. See this? That would be close to even. That is not. So I got to noticing that my trim appears to be making up for that. And so I have a sneaky suspicion that this thing would probably fly a lot better by just simply fixing that. So what I was going to do is I was going to do that right now. Show you guys how I do it. Not that there's not 47 different ways to do this. This is the way I'm going to do it. It's going to be super easy. So we'll just take off the rubber bands. We need to shim up this side, and in order to be able to do this, we're going to have to kind of wedge some stuff under there, but I'll have to unfortunately probably put these rubber bands on a couple of different times to be able to accomplish that. Okay, so you can see what we got on here. I got a couple of wires. We can pull that slack up rather than totally take the wing off, although we could take the wing off too. And basically what we got to do is we got this weather strip here, which is perfectly satisfactory weather strip, but we're going to lose it today. We're going to lose it on this side just because we need a little more material there, something with a little more strength. And in thinking about the different choices of material that could be used, oh, that's exactly what I had hoped would happen when I first stripped it. Because I would just as soon keep this and put it right back on. You see this, how it ripped off? That's just foam to foam, so I have a method for getting that reattached. And the reason I care if this gets reattached versus putting on a new piece is I don't know if I have this exact size, and I just as soon have it exactly the same size. This is flexible foam cure, crystal clear. It's a Bob Smith Industries BSI product. Kind of hard to get it started. I don't want to use pops in your hand on your mouth, just because it's way too tacky for this. Actually, you know what? I am going to not use anything yet. I'm going to flip this upside down. I'm going to lay this down. If you're ever working on a project like this and you don't want to lose the tack of a piece like this, you can stick it on wax paper or something like that. Just wipe the surface, make sure it's clean. Okay, so you could see as good as I could. We're not that far off from making our height. And I like to keep things simple, which some of you are probably laughing when you get up off the floor from laughing. Just hear me out. This is not very much material. I'm not 100% sure that's going to do the trick. But what I was thinking about doing is, and this is a fairly soft balsa, I was thinking about maybe just folding this in half. But then I said, shoot, I'm not going to know if it's enough. So probably what I'll end up doing is I'll go ahead and just stick this on here. And we'll use just a piece of tape for the moment. Just testing. And once we've tested to see if we've made up enough thickness, then we can trim this down to the correct width. Oh, actually, you know what? So I can put that stuff back down. I'll just run a strip of this down the length of the the surface, and that monocoat will prevent it from sticking properly in a permanent fashion. So now I can take this, knowing that the ripped off end is the end that goes toward the tail, and we'll just plop this right where it would be going back. And then we don't even need to get this exactly totally mounted. We can probably just force it down, but one way or another, we'll see if that wood is ample to accomplish our goal, which is, of course, to get this thing level. Feels like maybe I'm stuck on some stuff in here. I'm just gonna stuff this excess up into there's kind of a void right here in that middle area. Another thing we got to do tonight is we got to get some cooling holes poked in here. This thing was not cooling very well when we flew it the other night. See how it's poking the wires there? It's actually not a big issue to have those wires poking through, but it'd be nice if we didn't have to deal with that, but we live in an imperfect world, so it's probably not going to happen. Just pulling this through, and now pulling the other one through. It's kind of nice. You can get in there and pull those through. And take all that slop back to where we can handle it and actually have it fit. Okay, so now we're back to where we... Wow, that was amazingly close. So in order to rule out me just being overly confident about the solution, I'm going to actually brace this back down with rubber bands, because sometimes when we're doing projects that could be otherwise huge pains in the butt, we tend to see what we want to see, which is that the solution we anticipated might works. So let's just test it. Okay, so now that I'm looking at it, it's close, but it's too much. We went too much there. So I would say that in order to make this square and true, I'm going to probably have to take and cut that strip down by a factor of maybe half. So I'm going to actually peel the tape up then I can take the wood and just peel that down from the tape. Okay, so we know that this is very close, and keeping in mind that the CA or whatever we use to glue this down is going to take up some room too. And get a square edge while we're dealing with this. These little sanding blocks work nice, or foam. Use one, you can hold it with one, and then the second one allows you to work without having it slip all over the place. It's kind of handy. The only problem is you sort of consume the sanding block on the other sanding block to a certain extent. I actually kind of want to go the other way with it. Use this better block. Well, that worked nice. The other thought I have was just trying hot glue. And I know what you're thinking, hot glue, that's kind of heavy. Well, yeah, it is. So I'm just going to get that hot in preparation for my bailout. The other thing is this. Take and run that backward. Okay, so it's taking up some of the wood, but it's also making it want to roll. Again, you got to keep in mind it's going to be glued down with CA or some similar product, probably CA. That's quite a bit thinner now. It's almost like I squished it more than I actually took material off. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I'm just squishing it, so it's flattening out because I'm squishing the thing. Just taking the air out. Okay, so now that will be probably a little bit closer. I think now would be the time to go ahead and get that shim cut down to the thickness we want. And again, I'm just sort of ballparking this. It doesn't need to be perfect, but perfect's always better. Okay, we'll go just a touch more. Okay. Remember, guys, this is just shim. It's not like it's a structural member. Just holding the wing up a little bit, that's all we're doing. And, you know, anybody who builds these kits can testify, it is actually pretty hard to stop balsa from twisting. Especially when you put a heat-activated monocoat product on it. And I think that's what's going on with my grandpa's builds. But I'm not sure. Maybe he's doing it wrong. I'm not sure. I don't really want to second guess it because I didn't build it. I didn't put the effort into it. Okay, so I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm sick of wasting my life on this. I'm just gonna glue it down and be done with it. So we're gonna go with some medium CA. Just gonna hold this up here so I know where to put it. Yep, right on top of the monocoat. That is correct. And you'll notice I put quite a bit on this end. That was no mistake. Okay, stuck it down. Now, when you've got a real thin piece like this, you have to work fairly quick. Because it'll set up like right now. Oh, that son of a gun. I was afraid that might happen. That's going to totally glue to my finger. Take one for the team. Who needs that little tip of skin there? Evidently not me. Oh, hey. Okay, so you see what I did there? I just put kicker all over the top. Now, the reason I wanted to kind of get that set down is to finish a project. But beyond that, the reason I was concerned about getting it set quick is sometimes if you don't get good adhesion at first on those things, and you let it peel, then it will actually soak into the balsa wood, and then the balsa wood becomes extremely brittle and quite strong, actually. And I just want it to soak in and make it quite strong as a piece of this top coat of the monocoat here now. So I think we've accomplished that. So I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife. I got to wipe the tip of this thing too. So the X-Acto knife, take the non-sharp side, which is still quite sharp, and just run it back to front, front to back a couple of times. Take down any nasty edge. Remember, this is balsa wood. It's not going to generally splinter too bad, just because it's a real soft wood. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just get these, if there's any loose edges, just kind of address them now so we don't have to deal with it when we're out trying to fly. Okay, so then this crap, I just keep little junk right there. I just always have this revolving door of little pieces that I'm working with. Sandpaper or sanding block. Just take off the rough edge. Actually take it off this time. Yeah. So the idea is we're going to hide that. And then up here we were a little bit thicker than we needed to be, so we went into fuse, access area. So I'm just taking that down. And then just a couple of strokes over the top. Sorry, when I blow the dust off, I got to point the camera away. Okay, so we put that all back. Now I'm going to go back over it with regular Well, this would be like a medium CA, and not foam safe. A lot of the stuff I use is foam safe because I do so much work with foamies, and so I understand that you guys probably know the difference, but I just don't want there to be any ambiguity. Okay, so also, I don't know if you guys knew this, if you haven't used a lot of Q-tips. I use a lot of Q-tips, obviously, if you're watching my videos. The Q-tip will, when the CA goes into the cotton, there's so much airspace, or the cotton itself reacts with it, and it just sets it really, really quick. Excuse me. So the only problem is you gotta take some alcohol or something like this and wipe down your area when you're done, if you were using CA, because that kicker, if you get kicker and then you try to bond something like what we had bonded up there, it's just not going to stick very well, if at all. It's probably not going to stick at all. It'll just break down the adhesive. So what you can do is you can just, now once you've got that dry, you should be good now, which it is. It's fine. It's good for what we're doing. I'm just going to take a marker, just a black marker. Nothing magical about this. And I'm just going to touch the edge, just in case it shows through. That would look really bad. Just either edge. Done. I don't care about the top face because it's going to get covered up immediately, like right this second. So now we go back to the foam tack, whatever stuff this is, Insecure stuff, which, by the way, this isn't like CA at all. It's like a totally different product. Okay, and I'm just going to spread this out real thin coat of that is all you need. And I'm going to spread it with my finger, and I'm going to let it start kicking. Meaning I'm going to let the chemical reaction start happening, which I'm sure there's somebody out there who knows more about this stuff than I do. Like everything. This is YouTube after all. There's pretty much always somebody who knows more than you on YouTube. Okay, so we're going to let that reaction start. And now we're going to take and we might steal a little bit of it so that we can try to re-glue this thing. And that'll just start setting up on there. Because when you peel off the adhesive the first time, it's probably no big deal, but second, third, fourth time, it gets pretty weak. Okay, so we've got that reattached. Of course, if you had a brand new weather strip, you could do that too. But there's something about, this hobby. You could literally spend your entire day, every day, if you're doing as much flying as I do, just ordering the correct parts for a million different things. And not to mention the money component. But it's like, I just don't have time to wait around and go to the shop or, hobby shop or whatever and buy every little stupid component that some hobby maker decided to sell. I just don't have time for it. I wish I had time for it. Maybe sometime of my life I will have time for it. But for the moment, I don't. So if I have something that'll work and it's not egregiously more heavy or egregiously crappy, I generally just use what I got. Because let's just be real, people. We all got limited resources. Okay. These wires are being annoying. I kind of wish that they weren't being annoying. But they are. Okay, so let's make sure we're seated, which it appears we are. Yeah, we are. We're seated. Now just holding it tight. Oh yeah, baby. That is a glorious, glorious improvement. Now, did I say perfect or improvement? I said improvement. I meant improvement. Is it perfect? I don't know, maybe. But it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be closer than what it was. So, we'll see. I think it's going to be fine. And while we're at it, we need to do some drilling of holes for cooling. So why don't we go ahead and end the video, and we'll do that next. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There'll be more videos coming very soon.